Meanwhile, the International Energy Agency estimates that by 2030, there will be 125 million electric vehicles on the road. This is based on existing and announced policies. That figure could rise to 220 million if policies become more ambitious to meet global climate goals and other sustainability targets. The International Energy Agency says over 1 million electric cars were sold in 2017, a new record with more than half of global sales in China, while the total number of electric cars on the road surpassed 3 million worldwide. There is an expansion of over 50% from 2016. As recorded by the Scripps Institution of Oceanography and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in May, the level of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has hit its highest level this year. The transport sector is responsible for a third of global energy demand and 1/6 of global greenhouse gas emissions. It is also the sector with the lowest penetration of renewable energy. In 2016, only 4% of energy consumption in the transport sector came from renewables.
What is very clear, renewable energy is needed to fully decarbonize the transport sector. Decarbonizing the transport sector is needed to fully decarbonize the energy sector. So we need to build on the synergies much more. And this is something we can improve. Renewable energy represent only a bit above 3% of the total final energy consumption in the transport sector. Only 3%. So there is a huge potential to improve it. It is very clear that policy and regulatory frameworks are needed to improve this, so creating a level playing field is necessary. The transport sector still highly depends on fossil fuel, where there is still 2 to 3 times more subsidies on fossil fuel than on renewable energy. This is just numbers. We still have de-taxation in some transport sectors, so in particular aviation and shipping, which are just prohibiting the fact that renewable energy can develop. So that's the first policy measure which needs to take place, create a level playing field. The other one is to really build on the synergies when we're talking about energy planning or infrastructure planning, to really think in a more systemic way in the transport sector and the energy sector.
Worldwide, there were nearly 1 billion passenger vehicles and 335 million commercial vehicles on the road in 2015. The number has been rising steadily over the past few decades, fueled by rising economic growth around the world. Cities, non-profits and state organizations used the Global Climate Action Summit in San Francisco during the second week of September to pledge to buy or support the buying of electric vehicles that will replace fleets of buses and trucks that run on diesel.
Any parts of the system that need to move along, and if one part doesn't move, then it doesn't happen. So from charging and infrastructure to what a new vehicle looks like, to the mass transit side, which is so critical, to the last mile. You know, in London we're going to go net zero by 2050. The big thing is how to basically decarbonise that sense. You can bring stuff in on electric trains, but then you need to get it from the stations to all the shops and all the businesses and all the homes. So all these different elements need to move along together.
Commercial and industrial vehicle fleets burn large volumes of diesel and are responsible for emitting considerable greenhouse gas emissions. Experts say replacing diesel engines with those powered by batteries can reduce emissions and air pollution, and for certain cases, such as package delivery and city transit, this will enable them to save money on fuel and operating costs.
People stopped going to the shops and now they're ordering everything, which when we were thinking about this 10 years ago, we said, so let's have people avoid trips and then they can order everything online. And now they're doing it, and we're like, what? Wait, so it's sort of, there's something wrong. We have assumed that the private sector would be very good at logistically organizing these things. They have, but they also found out that it's cheaper for them to have less stuff in the warehouses and more of it on the roads, because it's free to be riding on the roads with the merchandise there. And that's why we also have to have road pricing, and Germans are very good at that. They're actually charging per kilometer for all these trucks.
Electric vehicles fight climate change by powering transportation with electricity, not fossil fuels. Driving an EV can cut fossil fuel emissions in half and even eliminate them entirely, when powered by renewable energy sources.
Become the biggest producer of offshore wind almost overnight in the UK, and that was seen as a slightly crazy thing to do by most people about 5 or 10 years ago. And part of the reason was that it took about 3 months to put a wind turbine into the North Sea. It took all this permitting, auctioning, it was very expensive with the subsidy, etc., etc. Now the last turbine went in recently in 12 hours. So that was a 100-fold productivity increase. So if you want a new industry, a new economy, one that creates jobs in every corner of the country, one that is clean, one that is about skills, innovation, all of the sort of training opportunities that come, then offshore wind and the transition out of coal has been phenomenal. Now the reason I start with this story is, of course, when you're producing an electric car, you don't want to power it with coal-fired electricity, you want to power it with renewables. And the question you get asked the most coming out of the UK is, but how are you managing suddenly, now that you're getting 40–50% coming into your grid from renewables? That's just not possible. The grid can't handle it. Well, the grid can and is handling it. It needs smart grid technology, it needs innovation at all different levels, but it is possible and it is happening. And the price of offshore wind is halved in 2 years. Imagine getting halving of nuclear or coal or gas prices in 2 years. It's impossible.
Private sector investment is happening and policies exist. The International Renewable Energy Agency also says the technology is available. All that is needed is to put all this together in the right way. And as it has been seen with many countries where renewables are taken off, significant change will happen.